Yo, what up, guys? This is QB here from the Chopper Express, and I'm here to talk to you today about the boogeyman making himself back into the meta. And what do I mean by that? Last weekend for the Florida and Toronto regional, UP showed out. Players cooked it. They said, "Hey, this leader's still broken." They cooked it, so now instead of having more, it's still as tanky as it was before, but instead now they have a lot of the removal options in Mihawk, ACOS Luffy, and some people are on Kairos. And I'm here to show you, like, as a Teach player, how we adapt to the situation. Going into Bandai next week, this deck is looking like it's going to be one of the more popular decks in the room. You have a lot of people thinking about taking it. So how does the meta kind of shift? And then how does Teach really respond? Like, the matchup is still fairly similar to how we played it back in the past, but today we're going to go through two games. One where we're going to look and see how both of them we're going to see how I play the matchup. And one of the ideas behind this matchup, to me, it's just like two immovable forces in a sense. So what the Teach player on my side I'm trying to do is I'm trying to basically get to two Van Augers and a 7-cost Teach going into their first big drop. That is the ideal setup you want to get to, because if you don't get to that setup and you can't out the big drop, the game might already actually just be over, because now they'll just play ACOS Luffy, they'll just continue trading, and you can never, if they don't ever turn their bodies, which they can turn them if they really want to, but if they decide not to turn them, then you have like no way to actually interact with them. And now you're always playing one body, but you're always playing a setup behind. And so instead of them playing a dude to like either trade into your setup, or playing like Red Rock to try and like break up the setup, they're going, all right, big swing at this Van Auger, big swing at this Van Auger, and then big swing at this. Or like, now that they have a big body that's established, they can say, okay, I'll just Red Rock your 7-cost Teach, let's trade into your Van Auger, let's trade into the Van Auger, let's just fully break the whole setup down. And now you just have to rebuild your setup, which is really hard. You can't rebuild your setup in one turn. You basically just have to guard the Van Auger, have to have Tempest Kick, and then basically just have to have that 7-cost Teach ready to go. And that's kind of a little bit how you want to play on the Teach side. It's kind of like, you want to get to that setup, and then you need to evaluate your hand in the sense of, can I let this Van Auger die on a small swing to generate the card, or should I just usually I just give the card and say, hey, if you're going to swing 6, I'll give you the card, because it looks like you're trying to play a 9-drop, or trying to play like multiple 5-drops. And if they do that, it usually means their hand's kind of weak. And so it's like, okay, you don't really have ways to deal with the setup at this point. So that's kind of how I look into it. But so we're gonna start with this game. We are going to see, I get to go first. My hand looks really strong. I have double defeat. The reason that's your mulligan, you're really looking for either multiple ways to search or field spell. I mean, obviously if you draw field spell, you basically just keep that hand, almost auto keep that hand most matchups. So here I have double defeat. Let's start the game. So as I said, I'm gonna go ahead and keep this hand. I think it's really strong. Gives me multiple searches, and then if I don't hit field spell off my first defeat, then like I have the ability to just do another Luffy. And also these, I don't know if you don't know if they're starving or not starving. You won't know until you don't have a Luffy rested, that they're starving or not starving. So my first one is the field spell, which is like really good, which means I'm going to get to see a lot of cards see a lot of what I need to see throughout the game, and hopefully it just kind of falls in line. So I would say one of the positives about this matchup is that like the game isn't really decided until basically I get to 9 Dawn, and then he's like already playing his first big drop. Here I'm gonna poke 6. I will say that if I had my era here, I would just spin the my era. Like I don't think actually swinging at them matters too much in the grand scheme of in the early part of the game. Like, all that really matters is, can I get to my setup, and then can he break my setup? And that's kind of the game plan I'm sticking to right here. So here you'll see me. Oh, also a 10-cost Teach. I think this card's actually, since they're all on one record, I think this card gets so much better now, because usually it was like a dead card, because last format they'd have 2 Red Rocks, so you would go 10-cost Teach and they'd be like, alright, Red Rock, and they'd be like, have another one. Now what can really happen throughout the game is that basically once you get your board set, if they have trouble basically throughout the next like 3 or 4 turns, it's basically 8-cost Luffy Red Rock and Gravity Blade. That's basically what'll happen. They're just gonna try and break your setup, and if they can break the setup and break it so you can't out one of the cards, then they win. If you're able to just continuously make the board and continuously force them to like do other and force them to either, or they either run out or you force them to play the Red Rock, and once they play the Red Rock, since most people are only on one Red Rock, you can just go, all right, I'll just start spamming 10 cost teachers now, and it's like, now I'm just gonna start swinging, and then you just kind of keep track of that. Since those are like, even in the last one, those were the four most important cards you had. So he decides to go Lunami, and like I said, I don't turn him off till 9 Dawn. It doesn't really matter how fast they decide. Well, hey, like can matter, but there's not really anything you can do about how fast they decide to ramp. There's so like all you're stopping is Bond Clay, and it doesn't really matter if they generate stacking their deck or anything like that, because you're just going to turn them off anyway. So they're just looking, on their side, they're probably just looking for the blue cards. They're looking for Luffy, things like that. I get my era, I go ahead and play Kuzan, and I go ahead and turn them off. So I have Kuzan, I have 7 cost each. I have Tempest Kick is live. So in my head, I'm like, I just need to find Van Augur. I can out the first big drop. If I can find it. But here, he decides to play his 9 cost Hanji. He's not swinging, he's starving, and so I think the last turn you recognize, okay, he's starving, like this is the game plan for him. So now I have 2 7 cost Teach and a Berg. So now I really, and I say this with the most, I really need to find this Van Augur, because if I don't, this 9 cost Hanji is gonna stick, or I'm going to do like this like super neg type aspect. So I think I go ahead and search, because I really want to hit my Van Augur before I pop my Kuzan too, because if I can hit that, then I can like generate a new card, versus like there's just no way for me to out it the other way. And I also want to keep, if you're only playing 2 7 cost each, I've been thinking about this a little bit, maybe keeping the second 7 cost, you still hit the Van Augur, which is really good. Go ahead and do it now. Play's kind of simple. Pitch so I can bring it back. Punch some 6. I'm gonna punch 2 6s. You could argue I should pop my Kuzan right here, and I should, and I do. Just trying to see what I draw. Go and do it again, make sure there's nothing I want to fill in, and then get this on the board. He's turned off. I have a decent setup. I probably need to protect this more. Now here, this is like kind of the more annoying part, is that like if he plays A cost Luffy, he's going to be able to out my Van Augur. And I've already bottom decked 2 Kuzans, so I should give him a card. I have to give him a card here, because if I don't, he'll just gonna play a 9 cost, and then he's probably gonna swing with his Nami too, and he's just gonna try and generate 2 cards. He's gonna be able to generate. So he decides to swing 8 or swing 9. I'm not gonna give him the rest of my hand for that. It's just not worth it. So I get the draw, because, and so like I said, he's trying to break my setup. So now I've seen that he's pitched. I whiff. Unfortunate. It happens, man. And so now I need to re-get my setup back. I have 1 Van Augur, and like every card matters, so it's like losing that card like actually is like super unfortunate. But I'm just gonna try and re-get my setup back. So I'm gonna go ahead and play Lafitte. Okay, I just need to find the second Van Augur. Need to get back to the bottom of my deck. He decides to Gum. That doesn't always mean he doesn't have counter power. That could just mean he's just trying to generate the next. He's just trying to get to the next card that can break the setup. So I get here, I pitch, but also he's putting me on low cards because I gave up a card, and now he traded. He's basically able to now say, okay, like he just gets to find Grav Blade, because if he can find Grav Blade to hit the next 2 Van Augurs, then I basically effectively lost all my cards, and so I'm already low on cards. So, and you could say at this point, like maybe, but he's forcing me into these situations, and this is just kind of like where the game can get hard, where you're like, my first one wasn't good enough to have both, so I had to defend. And my turns being slightly more awkward, and so now it's just like, all right, if you have Grab Blade, then it's just the game just becomes very hard. And sometimes when you have to you have to pivot, if this is Grab Blade, it's like you just have to go for big swings, and then just try and generate 10 costs from the top of your from the top of your deck, because he's just basically saying, I'm not gonna give you any cards. So he hits the 8 cost Luffy. I only have 1 card. He's now this turn able to go like 8/8 into my bodies if he wants to, which is like, fine. I guess there's nothing I can really do about it. I can either give him the card here, give him the turn the Nami. I should just take both though. And he's gonna be able to generate the 8-cost Luffy, and I'm not gonna be able to have an out to it. And I give him a card here. I probably shouldn't give him a card. I probably should just let both rock. I mean, I understand that, like, if I think a great idea, because I'm saying, hey, you have to play the 8-cost Luffy. And so now we get to this point in the game where I have very little cards. I have 10 cost each. I can get both 10 cost each. But I think this is where I don't know if I mess up or not. I shouldn't swing here, because now he's just gonna dunk swing into my. I'm not actually progressing the game, but it's also I feel like the game this feels lost. But I think if I just like chill for a turn, and instead of like eventually I'll have enough big swings to like try and push him to 0, and if I can get the Luffy player to 0, then like maybe I can just win that way. But now that I'm like not really doing a whole lot, he's just gonna be able to just continue just to play big dudes. And because I have no cards, whenever I decide to turn my cards, he's just gonna be able to like trade over my whole board for effective value. Here's the second 8-cost Luffy, and this game is slowly feeling out of control. And so this can happen during the star strat. This is why the matchup can feel very volatile. I think here I go ahead and take the block, just because he's gonna end up swinging 8 anyway, so might as well just make him turn his leader too. In here, I think I should be taking a Kuzan actually, if it's there, because Kuzan will help me generate another card. And I think one of the ways that I can maybe try and get back in games I need, and this kind of gets hard because the 8-cost Luffy's make this part kind of hard, because usually in last format, your Kuzan would just generate a Burgess, and then your Burgess is just big, and they just wouldn't deal with it. But here, because of the 8-cost Luffy's, your Kuzan basically can't do a whole lot. And maybe this is where I probably should be trying to reset up. So I probably should be going Kuzan into probably Van Auker, see what I draw first, see if I can get a 4-cost body, or if I have San Juan Wolf still in the deck, then I look for San Juan Wolf, and now I generate 2 swinging bodies. But I decided to keep my Kuzan. Truthfully, I'm probably kind of panicking here, because now he's just building his board up, and I don't have any cards. So like, if he decides to turn everything, he'll just kill me over the course of 2 turns. So I think it was played really well on my opponent's side. On my side, yeah, I had like a small hiccup, but I think I could be swinging. I could have been like, I don't know how to say it. Like I probably could be being more aggressive at this point, because I know the only way I'm winning the game is by like pushing through counter power now. But I know that my biggest swings are only going to be like of 6k bodies. And so now I'm kind of thinking, like, oh, I should be getting back close to my 7-cost each, and maybe I can get back into my 7-cost each. But I think also I should have swung 6s, like 6 or like 8, because like generating 2 cards out of them is better than them spending 1 card on gear 5. Like, all these little things that probably could add up. So now I just kind of like play Kuzan, but like again, my Kuzan's not doing a whole lot. It's just making sure I don't run out of cards. But now this also just plays into Grab Blade very heavily, and I'm thinking I'm just going to spend 1 on Caribou, but again, I'll put myself on no cards. He's going to know my last cards teach, and he'll just make plays accordingly. So I think that may have been like a little misplay on my part on that, and I think I could have set back up to have 7-cost teach, because like I said, he spent the red rock already, and so now it's just like a race to who can get a bigger board, and him already having 3 big swings and me possibly able to like set up 7-cost teach, I played right into G Blade. So I think right here I just messed that turn up really bad too, and he's just been able to just do this the whole game. And now I'm at the bottom of my deck again. But if I swing 6, pop, take the 7-cost teach, swing another 6, play the 7-cost teach, have that as my setup, he can't G Blade me, or he's G Blading me for like 1 card. And then you can maybe, just maybe, there's a way that like that board can get me there, and he'll have to swing sooner rather than later. And then maybe I can 10-cost teach, try and win over the course of 2 turns with a 12, 6, 8, and 12 in my leader. Versus like where I'm at right now, where I gave G-Blade full value, and y'all see how this game going. Like it's kind of inevitable. Like we're gonna talk through it, but here he starts to swing. He realizes I have no cards. He has the board. He's gonna get 5 swings. There's almost nothing I can do about it. If he swings low to high, then like I can never realistically block with my teach, because I can't block. He's like, the Luffys are always gonna swing. Should almost all in theory almost always swing last. And he's gonna go and just play the Nami, grab a counter, and this is when Luffy starts doing what Luffy does. He's gonna grab a crap ton of counter. It's gonna live off GGG or Gum Gum Giant, and there's nothing I'm gonna be able to do about it. He's gonna go and bounce my Caribou. Now, basically saying, hey, you can block. As soon as you block, I'm going to swing big numbers into your. So I probably should block that. And then just say, hey, if you want to dump your Dawn onto your Luffy, I'll just protect my Teach and try and play it in that manner. But I go ahead and just go to 0, I think. Or I go ahead and give him 1k here. I think I should block the other one, but I think he still just presses face. Like, the game's kind of like so far in his favor. So now, I'm pretty sure I know I have 1 10 cost Teach left in my deck. I don't remember if this is a 3 cost list. I usually play 3, so I think I know there's 3 left in my deck, and I'm just trying to kind of like do math, seeing if I can like try and get him to 0 and live. I don't live. It's just the truth. And so this is just one of those games where like you can kind of see like how this matchup kind of goes. Like, he was able to break my setup really easily. He spent the red rock early. I didn't have another setup. And so here I just think I decided to try and see if I can like push game when it can't get there and like set up a couple blockers and try and just get good swings in. And I know he has so much counter power. I know he has like Giants. I know he has probably like Bogwas, other cards like that, and it's just not gonna, I'm just not gonna be able to push through. But I think kind of just sticking to the lines, like was able to get to the setup. Or a pseudo form of the setup. You really want to like get to the Van Augur Teach, and that's because in that turn, if I had a Van Augur, I would have started off my next turn playing my second 7 cost Teach, and then still had a Van Augur, and then I would have got like 2 good swings, and then probably played another minion, and then he wouldn't have been able just to like trade with numbers over the next one. But hey, let's get to the next game. Let's see if we can do a little bit better this time. So so same thing, playing against UP. This one, let's see what they decide to let me go, first or second. So they decided to go second again. I think it's kind of like you want to go first. This hand's good, but I don't think it's good enough. I think I'm playing, it's like 3 dead cards, and if my error was, then I'll just be, there's nothing I can do about it. So this is a really good hand. I'm going to start with Stage. I think Stage is, you get to see an extra 3 cards. I'm going to push the Van Augur, grab my Kuzan. So I'm like already there. I'm already there. Like I'm one auger away from just getting the setup, and once I get that, I think the game. I don't want to say it's locked, but like that's where there's like ideal curve. Like you don't care. So going first, if they play Zorojuro, they play those cards. Like I don't think there's a lot you can do. Versus like going second, you want to out the Zorojuro if they played on 3. I think going first, if they play Zorojuro, you kind of think a lot of time you just gotta like leave it there, and like that's their ramp, because they'll probably double ramp, because usually what the deck does, so they'll probably double ramp into your 9 Dawn. And so here I'll go ahead and play Lafitte. I don't really care if it gets hit by any of the event thing like that. Grab the second Van Augur. And I know, basically structure my bottom deck to where my Kuzan should probably be at top, and then my Van Augur should probably care about what to do in that. And then here's where I'm like, oh, what do I send? What do I take away? And so I'm pretty sure I'm gonna end up like using, like, ideally I would use all my Tempest Kicks, but I'm gonna cycle a Tempest Kick anyway, in my opinion. And like I said, I don't think pushing 6, like I don't think pushing the extra damage kind of matters. So I'm just going to try and I'm just going to keep digging into my deck, and I'm going to pass. And so here I still won't figure out if he's on the starve strat or not. I'm assuming, to be honest, I just assume they all starve. Like that's, and then until someone swings at my life, then I just assume they starve. If they swing at your life, just I would say, I guess the way is to pivot as necessary. Understand that you can't take all your life. Here's where I think this is where I think you should take the second 7 cost teach here, because your first 7 cost is the way they do with this, probably gonna get red rocked. If you're only playing 2, you should just take this one now and just hold it in your hand for a long while, and just say, hey, I'm gonna hold this in my hand until I verify that it's not getting red rocked. And because if you're not playing 3 and now it's like at the bottom of my deck, I won't see it for probably like, what's that for, probably like 20 or like 30 something cards in my deck, so it's like 8 turns. Like, it's a really long while away. By the time we get to that point of the game, like if I still have Van Augur, and then like, I mean, I probably am in an okay position. I think also the other thing that happens in this matchup is that can happen is that they can like starve you to the point where your deck out. So be careful. Like, your augurs are mandatory draws, your Kuzons are mandatory draws. Like, just be cognizant of what's happening and understand that if you're about to deck out, you have to change your game plan for popping their whole board to just going big swings face, and that's when you should start 10 cost teaching them. I ain't gonna lie, it's happened to me. So he decides to play Frankie for Nosuke. I guess that means to me he has like a weaker turn. If you want to replace that with any of the other cards, you can too, and say Quentin, like, what if he has like Nami or Rosie? Like, they're all kind of the same. That one's probably easily the worst one, because it doesn't have the points to be able to swing back into Van Augur like the others do. And here's where I get to this kind of the setup. And so I'm kind of looking at, I think I'm just looking at my trash and saying, hey, do I need to spend this my era, or do I want to dig deep? But I think because he's starving, I don't really care about the 2k that much in this situation. I know that next turn I'm basically about to generate cards again, and first big drop comes down. I have Van Augur in my trash. I'm at 7 cards. So if I don't want to discard anything I have right now. So if I poke, draw, field spell, I can get to 9. I can get to 9 to Tempest Kick, but I don't really need to get to Tempest Kick this turn. So I'm just gonna get my 6s in. And I probably should plan this out more. Because I probably could actually do something different, because then I'm going to float Dawn. I think if I played my turn out more, I could have got either bigger swings or swing like 6-8. But I think if he guarded both 6s, then I'll just do poke both 6s. Go inside and spend my era. Just continue to get deeper. Here, going to rotate the Burgess probably. And then get the second. So I was playing 3 in this list. See, that's what I'm saying. There's no point showing y'all lists. I don't know what's in my deck right now. And it looks like here I'm going to go ahead and set up the Caribou. So the thing with Caribou, that's like kind of, I'm still trying to figure out in my head if it's good or bad. I would discard the Stronger here. All right, I would. I guess, man, this is where I'm still trying to figure it out. Like, if I summon Caribou, I'm giving information that, okay, you have a 2k in your hand, so but on the plus side, it's like they have to spend a card to push it back into my hand. So I'm still trying to figure out like what's correct and what's not correct. From here, I know I have Tempest Kick plus Van Augur, so I know that like if he swings 6 at 6, I'll probably give him a card because I think it's worth it. I could effectively not though. And I guess I probably shouldn't because I can get punished, but he swings 9 or he swings 10 at my teach, and this is just one of those where he falls back into the, I guess, the trap. Like, I could grab Kuzon, make sure I have another one. I already have another 7 cost teach. I know I have one coming in my deck, so I could grab Kuzon to like make sure I have multiple Van Augurs over the course of the game. And I guess it's just one of those situations where like he doesn't have any other the blue removal pieces. You know, he just hit on an unfortunate aspect of the deck. He goes in and swings 6. I think I'll go ahead and give him the 2k here. Or the Van Augur. I probably should give him the Caribou personally. Or just let it die. But I can also understand that like maybe I want to keep my setup. Like I know I'm already ahead on board. And so now I know that he's been struggling this game to like find cards that break the setup, and so I'll just go ahead and I think I grab Teach. And And I could in this turn also spend the Tempest Kick if I really want to out this Bonkley. Just because right now I'm looking at my hand, there's not really a card I really want to pitch for leader ability. And I could, but he hasn't seen Red Rock yet, so I think I'm going to go in. Oh, okay, that's kind of fair too. Go ahead. There's not a card I want to pop, so I'm going to go ahead and just get my 10 cost each down first. And it's also another card that just like baits Red Rock, so, but it's not like as necessary. So getting it back into the bottom of my deck, it's kind of fine. And then next turn, I'm saying, all right, I'll play my 7 cost teach into your Bonkley, pop the Bonkley, and then kind of be back to where I want to be. But then also on that turn, I'll get to swing 8, 6, 6, 8. And so I'm just trying to stun him. I know that he's kind of struggling to find some of the cards that matter. Let's see what he grabs. He grabs Sanji, 2K, looks like. And really, it's like I feel like I'm in a really, really good position. Like I have this. He hasn't shown me a Red Rock, so he kept the card on top of his deck. So I guess there's a card he wanted that was in that group. Could be G-Blade. Could be. I think if it's Red Rock, you usually just grab Red Rock because you want the other card to be on this no information. You swing 6. I'm just gonna go and take my free block and say, hey, you're gonna break my setup. I pitch my teach, kind of. In a way to show kind of, I don't remember if I grabbed 2 teaches, by the way. I never remember, but if I did, then I just do it that way. He goes in and spends what's this card? Godthread. So again, hand's just super weak for on his side. Like he's just struggling to find the cards that actually just matter in this matchup. And here I think what's best is to just try and push the numbers. Like I have a decent amount of counters to where you can't trade over teach over the 12 cost, over 10 cost teach. And I think as long as I get rid of the Bonkley, then there's no way for him to trade over 7 cost plus 10 cost. And so he'll just have to trade over Van Augur. I'll generate another card. And as long as I find a Kuzan or a Van Augur within the next 6 cards, then like I'm still in a decent spot because I have Tempest Kick Van Augur to still play in that manner. So I'm just gonna go ahead and poke 6s, to see if I can like try and get this Nami to like block. If I get the life, it's kind of fine too. And so then I'm gonna go ahead and play 7 cost each, go ahead and pop that. And I go ahead and rotate, and I should grab Kuzan. And then I should go Caribou, pitch Caribou. And this should put me in a decent position to where even if he has 8 cost Luffy here, 8 cost Luffy, if he goes Nami trade, I'm just gonna let my Van Augur die because I have Kuzan plus Tempest Kick. And then if he goes 8 cost Luffy bounce Caribou, he can't make a number big enough to where like, or he can make it 10 and swing over the teach if he really wanted to. And I think that's probably the best play that could happen for him. But that would have to come after he trades into, or that would have to come before he trades into Van Augur. And so either way, I can like just grab counter power. So here I'm going to let it die, hopefully trying to draw some counter power. Because if I draw a 1k, then I can counter out of the 10k that's coming, and because he would bounce my Caribou. And so that's kind of what I'm saying. Like here, he could go Tachidon, bounce, and then I think this is like the best play he has. But if I can get the punish, that'd be good. I could have got the punish, that'd have been really, really good. But you know what happens. It bounces. I go ahead and let it die. I think here I grab the 10 cost each back because I'm saying, okay, like now there's gonna come a turn, and so now I have a 2k back in my hand. So now if I grab 10 cost each, I can 10 cost each his 8 costs, swing with my 10 costs, and then he either has to block or take. As long as I generate I think 1 more k, or no, because you can swing 9, 15, 15. If I can generate a 2k and like basically my draw So if I get a 1K out of my draw and then I float one of these other cards into a 2K, then I grab 7 cost teach. Not exactly sure why. Maybe I'm just saying, hey, like, I mean, I could get stronger. I wonder why I grab 7 cost teach, actually. I'm actually super surprised I grabbed it. I want to say it's the wrong grab, but I don't think this Nami like matters. But I also could just say this Luffy doesn't matter at all and just reset it up and say it's gonna be hard to deal with. So I'm gonna grab an auger, which is really good. And I think here I'm just gonna go push 7, push 6 or push 7, and then play out 7 cost teach. Maybe go Tempest Kick, pop Nami. Which if I'm gonna do this, I should spend my Tempest Kick first. But maybe I'm thinking, I guess what I'm thinking here is I'm gonna go keep trying to bait the Nami, and then I'm thinking I'm gonna go Tempest Kick, reduce Nami, 7 cost teach, pop Nami, and then summon Caribou again, and then make him give me another card for the Caribou. And then I'm also doing the math there, so there's also, I can turn my Shisha's turn. I have 4K worth of counter. I can get teach to 16. That means either way he splits, there only gets to get 1 swing on the teach. And if he swings big on the 10 cost teach, then he can't swing big at my 7 cost teach. So this is one of those situations where I'll probably end up turning my teach. Probably should turn my teach. Actually, I turn it phase. Trying to end the game a little faster. Like I said, he can only clear 1. He can only clear the 8 cost teach effectively. And I'm gonna make him spend a card to do it. I'm going to make him spend a card to bounce the Caribou back. And so I think this is one of the situations where you got to evaluate whether it's worth to tax the Caribou. I think it might be just worth every time, I ain't going to lie. Just to summon the Caribou, especially if you have more counter in your hand, and say, hey, like, give me a card, even if it's a brick card for the Caribou. That's just like one more card down that they're down. And you're really trying to get them on a low hand size. So he goes in and adds another 5 cost Nami, and this is kind of just what the Luffy deck can do. It just can stay alive for so long. And that's where, I mean, I enjoy this matchup actually. I think it's really fun. It's pretty entertaining. Sometimes it get frustrating when like you don't hit your curve or like things like that, but I think there's a lot of intricacies that can happen to where, and a lot of deck building on their side where depending on their lists, like you can be in a decent position. And I think just recognizing how the game's kind of going, you can kind of go from there. And so he decides to go swing 11, bounce swing 12. I say okay, it's dead, and grab 10 cost teach. I don't know what I grab here, but I think I still should be grabbing 10 cost teach because I think that like I don't have Tempest Kick, so my 7 cost teach can't combo. 10 cost teach can turn off the Luffy, and then again I'm putting him in a position where you can't. I'm gonna generate another counter this turn. So like I'll actually be able to get past a swing 9 or swing 10 into 10 cost each, and then now I have 3 12 costs. So here he has to use the counter power, so it has to be like Gum Gum 2K or Gum Gum Gear 2. Which at the end of the day, you just want to like, I think eventually you want to get to a point with the Luffy deck, or regardless of the deck you play, where you want your swings to either even out how many cards are generating, because not all their cards are going to be broken. And then now I have the black hole for this next turn too, so I have the black hole for the Nami, so I can swing bigger. He can't, which means if he leaves with too much Dawn, he can't actually kill anything, and I'll kill him. And it's kind of like checkmate from here, in my opinion. At least in theory. I don't think there's really counter power ways to get out of this. Obviously, I mean, we say this, but Gum Gum Giant's such a broken card. They have a lot of good events that really generate counter power in that manner. But I think this is similar to the last game. I got to 5 cost, 7 cost, 5 cost, or I got to Van Augur, 7 cost teach. I've recognized at a point that I couldn't pop any more cards. I pivoted to the teach line. I would say something, like I said, some of the things to watch out for is they play as Gravity Blade and Red Rock. 8 cost teach is annoying because but it's not like, it's not a card that's gonna like get a lot of value off of the first aspect, which is like bouncing Burgess or something like that. So you just gotta like, you basically just have to understand that like you're gonna get traded on. How do you go about that? And then if you do get graph bladed, how do you pivot from that if you get graph bladed, or do you set up again? Because they're only playing one or two of these events now, so you just have to play into those aspects and then go from there. And so here, I think I decided to go for game. I don't think I have to go for game, but I think it's just good. I didn't do. I'm not doing the math, to be honest. But this should be 2 cards. It should be Gum Gum plus a card, or it's so if it's Gum Gum plus a card, then that's what, 4 cards left. This is the crazy thing about this deck. It's like I'm not doing the math, but in my head I'm like, dang, bro, there's a world you probably still could get out of this. Here's another Gum Gum. So now it's Gum Gum. Pitch another card. So yeah, and this should be perfect math even with double Gum Gum. You pitch 2 cards here, and it's just not enough to get through. And then I'll just swing another 12 or 13. And so that's the game. And so this is kind of seeing both sides. You see how both sides of the matchup can really play out. Like at the end of the day, I think we're both trying to enforce our strategy onto the game. My strategy being, hey, I'm trying to get to this board state that like is really hard for your deck to deal with, and them saying, hey, the one time you don't pop any of these, like the game might just be over. And they're just gonna try and find their Red Rocks, their Luffys, and their Gravity Blades and say, hey, like, if I'm gonna starve you and I can get to these cards and I can get to Gravity Blade and Red Rock and they can get really, really good value, you're not gonna have enough cards to generate to even leader ability and keep playing cards throughout the game. And I think one of the things, like I said, one of the things you gotta recognize is you have to probably sometimes have to pivot if you get to that point in the game. But this is how you play versus UP Luffy. You saw one where it didn't go too hot. You saw one where, I ain't gonna lie, I basically opened perfect. My opponent didn't open too hot, but the matchup is still the matchup, and we all play the game. So I appreciate it. I may have one more video. I'm not sure. Going to the Bankai Card Fest, gonna be testing a lot. So really trying to get ready for that. So if this is the last video for now, I appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all next week, and then after Bandai Card Fest, we'll start getting to a whole bunch of different decks up until PRB, and then we'll start getting into more Teach games here from there. So, hey, y'all stay safe out here. If y'all see me at Bandai Card Fest, feel free to say what up. Hey, y'all stay safe out here. Peace.